Okay, you guys, I finally did it. I finally got up the courage to go ahead and do the drywall where the sink was. Now, I've been apprehensive to do this because there's a lot of pipes that I needed to cut around, and I just am not that good at drywall. But I cut it into 3 separate pieces, and that made it a lot more simple. So I put a piece that fit directly under the piping, and that worked really well. So for that one, I didn't really have to cut anything around it. And then I just screwed that in to the studs with some drywall screws. Now, for the next part, it needed to fit in between all 3 of those pipes, if that made sense. So what I did was I cut it to size, and then I figured out where I needed to cut just some squares. This would have been a lot easier if I knew where my hole saw attachment was, but I have not seen it since we moved here. So I could have just drilled with my hole saw through to make round holes, but I couldn't find it. So I worked with what I had, and I used my multi-tool and my utility blade to just go ahead and cut those out. And surprisingly, this actually looked really good and worked really well. So I don't know why I was putting this off for so long, because I actually think I did a really good job, and I'm not gonna lie, pretty proud of myself here. Now, when I was removing this piece of drywall, I didn't do that great of a job at cutting at a straight line, and that was because I was cutting around these pipes. So even though I didn't really want to do this, I knew that the best way to get a clean fit was to cut above those pipes that were there, and that was definitely the right choice. So I just drew it out, and then with my multi-tool cut small sections, and I had to do it above the pipes, obviously, so that I could get it straight and so that I wouldn't accidentally hit it with my multi-tool, because that would probably not be good. So pulled all of that off, and then I fit the last piece to go on top of it. And again, since I had made most of the cuts on that middle piece, I didn't really have to do too much here. I did have to just clean up the edges, and I was like, oh no, why is it not fitting? And so I did just have to kind of go back. It doesn't look as clean as it did the first time, but it's in there, and we just put in some more drywall screws, and we finally got it up. I still need to mud and everything, but we'll do that next week. And then it was time to turn off the electricity and take out this crusty dusty old light fixture, and for whatever reason all of the little caps were like super sticky, and I was like, ooh, that's kind of yucky. But we got that down, and then I started to paint the ceiling. Also, guys, make sure that you stick around to the end, because I'm showing you these tiles that I got on a really great deal. I'm really debating what I'm going to be doing with the floor, but I found every single tile I'm going to be using in this room on clearance or at Habitat for Humanity. So I just need help because I'm really stuck. Also, something really funny is I might be a YouTuber for a living, but I accidentally recorded this in slow motion. So even though I sped this up 20 times, it basically just looks like I'm doing it in real time. And you can see my arms getting tired and me just kind of like resting on the ladder, but you know what? It is what it is. And I like doing this for the first coat of the ceiling, like getting up on the ladder and actually getting close to the ceiling with my roller instead of doing the pole extension for the first coat, because I feel like I can get more even pressure and generally a better coverage so that I don't have to do 3 coats. I only have to do 1 this way and then 1 with the pole attachment and no ladder, if that makes sense. Because that light wasn't in here anymore, I did have to use a ring light and kind of maneuver around it in this small room with, cameras for TikTok and YouTube. So that was quite interesting, but definitely recommend, if you're gonna be painting your ceiling and putting in a new light fixture, that you go ahead and paint it while that first light fixture is off and before you put the second one on, because you don't want to get any paint on your light fixture and it just looks a little bit more clean. Now, guys, I know this patch on the ceiling, it's not really it. It's not giving. But I'm thinking we might do a cover up and maybe put something on the ceiling. Not 100% certain yet, but let me know if you guys have any ideas. see just how much brighter the ceiling is actually looking with a fresh coat of paint. And I did do a second one, but I opted to do that off camera because you guys don't want to watch me roll the ceilings for, 11 hours. So anyway, on to the next part. We turned the electricity back off, and then it was time to install the light. Now, I know that installing a new light fixture can seem really intimidating, but guys, I promise it's actually pretty simple once you get the hang of it. So I hung up the bracket and I have my wires out. Generally there's 3. There's going to be a black one, a white one, and then either a green or, well, it'll be coated in green, but it's your copper or your ground wire. And all you have to do is just connect the white to the white, the black to the black, and the copper to the copper, and screw everything in, and before you know it, you have a new light fixture. I actually got this on sale for just $30, and we have light. Now, before I can install my crack membrane for the tile to go on top of, I did have some holes that I just needed to fill with floor patch, and this was from where the closet was. So I wanted to make sure that I had an even subfloor before I go ahead and put down that membrane, and then of course the tile on top of it, because we don't want anything to crack. Speaking of tile, I got these 2 flooring options from the hardware store on clearance. I got between 70 to 80 square feet of each. The black ones I ended up getting for just $20 total, and then the cement looking ones, I got those for around $60 total, which is an absolute steal because tile is really pricey. Now these little white Zalige tiles are handmade and they're the star of this show. They're really going to be my design feature, and I got these at Habitat for Humanity, which is like a secondhand store, and they were so affordable. So I don't really know. I'm trying to keep this on a budget, but look at these tiles. They really need to be the star. And I think that they really pop against the black, but I don't know if the pattern is too busy. It's not 100% my style. And while I like the gray, I just don't think that there's enough contrast. So I laid both tiles out and I still was unsure. Then I made this little like rendering so you can kind of get the vibe of what it would all look like put together. And I'm torn. Now, these are the tiles that I actually really wanted to go with. Unfortunately, they're just way out of my budget, so I'm not sure what to do. Guys, let me know which option you would pick below.